Hey kids, I'm going to show you how to do a dihybrid cross. It's very similar to what we've been doing, but instead of dealing with one trait, with one allele, we're dealing with two alleles at the same time. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. It says, in rabbits, gray hair is dominant over white hair. Also, in rabbits, black eyes are dominant to red eyes. These letters represent the genotypes of the rabbits. So they give you the letters, and then they give you the phenotypes. Gray hair, white hair, black eyes, red eyes. Okay, so this is the given information. What are the phenotypes, the traits, the physical traits of rabbits that have the following genotypes? So they give you the genotype. You have to tell me black, white, gray, red, and so forth. So let's look. This is a big G, so that's dominant. Heterozygous means gray hair. So we'll write that. Little b is red eyes, recessive, or red. Black is dominant, red is recessive. So you can put red eyes. Okay, so this genotype means gray hair phenotype and red eyes phenotype. Okay, so I'm going to have you do these three on your own. Remember, you can pause me if need be. Okay, let's go ahead and do number 2 together, and then you can do number 3 on your own. Number 2 says, a male rabbit with the genotype homozygous dominant G, homozygous recessive B, is crossed with a female rabbit with the genotype homozygous recessive G, heterozygous B. The square is set up below. Fill it out and determine the phenotypes and proportions in the offspring. Okay, so they already gave you the parents. Now you just need to drop them in the box. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it because there's a special way to do this. They're using the same G and B, which we have up here. Okay, so this one has dominant G, recessive B, dominant B, recessive G. So when I drop them in, I want to keep the letters together. Let me show you what I mean. Not only do I want to keep the letters together, the same letters together, but I want to keep the dominant letter first. We still always put the dominant letter first, okay? So there's two G's here. One's big, so I'm going to put the big one first, and then the little G. There's two B's here. One's dominant, one's recessive. I'm going to put the big B first and the little b second. Okay, but notice I'm keeping my G's together and my B's together. I'm not separating them. The reason I'm doing this, it's easier to count when you do it that way. Okay, so let's try this one. This one should all be the same because they're all big G, little G, big B. Okay, big G, little b, G, big B, little b, big G, little G, big B, little b, big G, little g, big B, little b. Okay, let's try the next one. It should all be the same again. Big G, big B, little b. Remember, we're just dropping them in, but we're keeping the G's together and the B's together. And if there's a big G or a big B, we're putting them first. Okay, but we're just doing like last time, we're just dropping them in the squares. This one's going to be a little different because this one doesn't have a big B, has a little b. Okay, but we still have big G, little g. So it's, you could even do it like this: big G, little g, big G, little g, big G, little g, big G, little g. And then they both have little b's. So little b, little b, little b, little b, little b, little b, and little b, little b. Okay, let's do the last one. It should be the same as this one. because there's no difference in the G's and B's. Remember, you can pause me if you need to, or rewind if you need to. So we've done our square. Now we're gonna do the questions. So we're gonna have to use our key. They gave you a key. Remember, it's always important to make a key. So it says, how many out of 16? There's 16 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4 is 16. How many out of 16 have gray fur and black eyes? So we're looking for gray. So in order to be gray, you have to have at least one big G, at least one. To have black eyes, you have to have at least one big B, at least one. So let's count gray and black together, okay? Not separate. They wanted to know how they are together. So let's count. This has a big G and a big B. This would be gray and black. That means all of these are, because they're all the same. Big G, big B, gray and black. Gray and black, gray and black, gray and black. This one's gray, but there's no big B. You can see that, sorry. This one is gray, but there's no big B, so this is actually gray and red. So this won't count. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be 8 out of 16 are gray and black. Usually on the STAR test, they have you reduce it. So I would divide, it should give me 2, right? 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. And then divide by 2. Divide by 2. 1 half. So half of the rabbits are going to be gray and black eyed. 50% chance. Remember, this is all by chance. Okay, how many out of 16 have gray and red? So that would be this one, right? Gray and red, because red is recessive. It says right there. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 8 out of 16. We can even divide both sides by 8. 1/4. Excuse me, 1/2. 1 times 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. The answer would be 1/2. So 1/2 would be gray and red. 1/2 would be gray and black. How many would be white and black? There's no white fur because none of them have little g, little g. So this one would be 0. How many have white and red? There's no white. So this one would be 0. So it'll be half, half, 0 out of 16, 0 out of 16, which is, of course, 0. So go ahead and try this one on your own. Now I'm going to show you how to put the parents on top, okay? Because we just did the square, but we didn't do the parents. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that with this one. So they give you mom and dad, right here. Rabbit 1 and rabbit 2. So the first rabbit is little g, big B, little b, parent 1. Parent 2 is big G, big B, little b. Okay, that's parent 2. Homozygous recessive, heterozygous, homozygous dominant, heterozygous, just so we know. So now we're going to fill in the outside of our Punnett square. So what you have to remember to do this is you have to remember to be happy. Let me show you. So you're going to do eyebrow, eyebrow, nose, mouth. Okay? So the first eyebrow is little g, big B. So I'm going to put little g, big B. The second eyebrow is little g, little b. So I'm going to put little g, little b. The nose in the middle, The nose is little g, big B. And then last but not least, the mouth. Little g, little b. So that would be the first parent. Okay, let's go ahead and try the second parent. So remember, to be happy, eyebrow, big G, big B. The second eyebrow, big G, little b. The nose in the middle, big G, big B. And then last but not least, the mouth. That one is big G, little b. I'm going to write that. Big G, little b. Okay. Then the next step would be to drop them in the squares. Okay, accordingly, remember we want to keep the G's together and the B's together, and then put the big letter first if there is a big letter. So this is big G, little g, 2 big B's. This one would be big G, little b, 1 big B, 1 little b. This one would be big G, little g, big B, big B. And then big G, little g, big B, little b. Okay, try the next one. Big G, little g, big B, little b. Big G, little g, 2 little b's for this one and that one. Big G, little g, big B, little b. Remember, I'm dropping them in accordingly, and if there's a big letter, I'm putting the big letter first. Little b, little b. Almost done. Big G, little g, 2 big B's. Big G, little g, 1 big B, 1 little b. Big G, little g, big B, big B. Big G, little g, big B, little b. Big G, little g, big B, little b. Big G, little g, 2 little b's. Big G, little g, big B, little b. Big G, little g, 2 little b's. Okay, so we completed that Punnett square. Now let's go ahead and do, well, I want you to go ahead and try number 5 on your own, 5, 6, 7, and 8, because they're all connected. Okay, you're going to start, they give you the genotype. This one's supposed to be little b, okay? Change that to little b. Then they give you the genotype. You have to write the phenotype based on your reading. Then you do the parents based on the reading. And then you make the cross, just like I showed you. Remember to be happy. Okay, use the happy face to fill in your parents. Then drop in your B's and your G's, or in this case, your B's and your N's. And then tell me the phenotypic ratios. If you have any questions, you can ask me.